Nicholas, how are you today?
Hey, I'm fantastic. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. It's a big weekend here in the United States. The big game is happening on Sunday. Will you be tuning in?
What's happening on Sunday?
Yeah, there's a pretty big football game that most of the country is intrigued by.
Oh, is that where all the ads plays on?
Exactly. That's where all the $1 million ads play.
I'll be watching the ad for sure.
Understood.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Live of the VCommerce Show, the show that talks to you about the curated top news of the VCommerce space. I'm your host, Nicholas, and my co-host, Matt. He's here, the company with E6 Marketing, the company that gets you on QVC. We're super thrilled to have you today. It's going to be an interesting show, really a lot of really interesting stories going on this year. How are you going, Matt, today?
I'm doing good.
It sounds like you have
this is number 13, right?
I know. Number 13, it's Friday. I don't know if it's a good sign or bad sign, but I'm hearing that you have some sort of an accent weirdly today, right?
Some sort of what?
An accent? Is it an accent that we're hearing? Or like
yes. It's a stuffy nose, yeah. I've been fighting a cold all week. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. Well, it's being cold out there. So why don't you tell us what the show is about?
Yeah, this is the VCommerce podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. We talk about video commerce, invented with direct response television infomercials that went to QVC and HSN for the last 40-some years. It's evolved into video commerce through all kinds of website and selling platforms. And we try to talk about all the hot topics in this video commerce space. Nicholas and I work in different aspects of the business, and we always have a little bit of insight from our own experience and backgrounds of what makes this dynamic interesting to us. So thank you very much for tuning in.
Yeah, absolutely. And the first news I wanted to talk about and curate with the video commerce news of the week is around email. So for the listeners, I'm pretty sure you all have heard the big news from Google, and I think Yahoo is also involved in that. That is actually trying to limit the number of spammer out there and what they call the high volume emailers, which is someone that sends over 5,000 email a day. They have implemented a bunch of new rules, and if you don't respect those rules, they are going to start progressively getting you problem around deliverability, with the ultimate sanction being your domain can be on a spam list. And obviously, if you're running a mom and pop store and you're sending maybe 1,000 email a month or something like that, you don't have to be too worried about that. But if you're one of those company that is much larger and email is a big channel for you, you certainly want to make sure that you obey by the rules. Those rules are not quite straightforward. I think the most important one is making sure you have an unsubscribe button. I think in the US, most of folks have that. I have to say, though, I have seen sometime some pretty big name with no unsubscribe button that really has been painful on my side. But I think it's an interesting news. It's an interesting development. And the reason I wanted to point it out is that obviously we're talking about VCommerce and the video. It's around everything around video commerce, but video is becoming more and more a big part of emails, and adding shoppable emails into your video is another interesting way to grab attention to your consumers. We all know that some of our clients, they can generate 20-30% of their income, online income, through email. So email is still a good channel, it's still a vibrant channel, and so adding video to that is important. So if you actually are driving a big chunk of revenue through your emails and can't send those emails, it's going to be a problem. That's why it's an important thing to talk about.
It's a standard. It's an absolute standard in communication still. I mean, I know there's been a buzz about going away from the emails with the marketing dynamics and picking up different aspects of getting that story out. But it's such an important part of brand introduction and brand storytelling. I think it's an interesting dynamic that they're trying to squash it, or at least control it, so it doesn't go out of control for the consumer.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I was actually listening to a podcast that I want to make a special shout out, and they were actually talking about this. The podcast is, let me go back to my podcast note. I can't remember. Oh yeah, it's a limited supply. Sorry. It's limited supply. And the argument they're having, which was, so who is it going to benefit? Like having this rule. And in reality, it doesn't benefit the brand, doesn't benefit anyone. So it's really about the benefit of the broader community, right? How do we crack down on spam? So I think overall, I think it's a good thing. It's not profiting to someone specifically. At least I can't think of, and those guys either couldn't think of it. So I think it's just the benefit of the broader community. So I think it's the right thing to do. I
agree. I wanted to talk about something that's I have been excited about for like a year. I worked through QVC, and I introduced brands to the dynamic, and QVC and HSN, my team, and we introduced a brand like 6 months ago to QVC called Stolfus Meats, and they're a big meat purveyor out of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and one of their signature products is called Scrapple. Scrapple is a pork-based product, pork and buckwheat flour and cornmeal, and it's basically a meat. And what we talked about in our presentation is it's crispy like bacon, but meaty like sausage. But it's very unique and it's very regional. So our on-air spokesperson is the third generation Zach Stolfus. He's the grandson of the founder of his family's company. He works in the company and works in the business day after day. He has Scrapple once a week. Him and his family enjoy it for breakfast, I think every weekend. And we presented it for the first time. It launched on Wednesday. And I was so excited for the launch because it's so unique and niche. I wanted to know if the general US population would even understand what it was. And they did a great job. The QVC host did a great job. Zach Stolfus, who represents the brand, he did an amazing job in the education of explaining and kind of romancing the idea of buying Scrapple. So first off, Nicolas, have you ever heard of Scrapple?
No, I never heard about Scrapple. So what like
it's like it's like a breakfast meat. It's a breakfast meat, but it's very, very regional. It's very regional. So I think it's popular in the South. Definitely popular in the Northeast where I'm from, but Lancaster County is like where it's kind of founded. The Amish community, they really enjoy it. And it comes from old world Germany, and it's got a long history, but the idea of offering it on a national platform like QVC, I was really excited about it. It's just unique and different. And I wanted to bring it up in our conversation today because niche products have a place in video commerce. It doesn't, if the product is interesting and there's a following, some sort of following on the product, and it's a little different than others, the video commerce platform is a perfect dynamic to explain and to present that product. Putting that picture that you just popped up on the screen, it is Scrapple. That's what it is. But if to sell the product, with that just one shot on a website, I
think it would be tough, right? Absolutely.
Tough. So we explained it. We had the chefs make amazing pancakes around the Scrapple and eggs and all kinds of beautiful dishes, different ways. We talked about versatility. We talked about all the unique ways that you could offer Scrapple. So the versatility with Scrapple, it really stands out. So I was just really thrilled about it. It did very well. Like I said, the QVC hosts were amazing. Zach did an amazing job, and I'm hoping we could offer it more and more on QVC.
So did he sell out?
No, we didn't sell out, but we did well. We did well enough where we're going to get a couple more airings, and then we'll reconvene with the buyers to see what next steps are. But it did well. It did very well, and I really went into it not knowing, is this going to do poorly or is this going to skyrocket? And it's so funny. The chefs backstage are all from this area, the Pennsylvania area, and they know of Scrapple and they kind of grew up with Scrapple. So they were all excited about it. The community, you know, in the kitchen and the guests talking about Scrapple backstage was exciting. So I just wanted to bring it up. Like anything niche, just because it's niche doesn't mean it won't work.
I'm curious to, you know, and I don't know if you have the data, but do you know like what's the spread out of like people that actually bought? Like, is it mostly around Pennsylvania, or do you see people from all over the US buying the product? I'm curious to hear your thought there. It's like, do you need to know the product to actually purchase it, and video was just an amplifier, or was it like people actually discover it there and say, yeah, you know what, let me try out?
That's a great point. This brand Stolfus presented Bologna in September and through the fourth quarter last year, a ring Bologna. So beautiful Bologna, kind of like kielbasi or sausage, but it's called Bologna. And Zach told me much of his orders through QVC were west of Texas. So he's used to east of, you know, this side of the border, this side of the United States with his sales. He was shipping west of Texas, like majority of his sales were west of Texas. So this Scrapple presentation happened on Wednesday. So it was only 2 days ago. So we don't know the data yet on where he's going to ship to, but I'll make sure I find that out, because that's a great call out. Is it mainly Northeast consumers that kind of understand what Scrapple is already, or are these people kind of going on what we talked about in the presentation?
Yeah, but it does speak about the power of like customer acquisition through, you know, because obviously the Bologna, everyone knows what Bologna is, but then in this case, hey, this is like, as you say, this is a new customer for him that probably he never heard of, and that's completely customer discovery, and you know, doing a show and selling massively there will be benefit for him for the years to come with some of those customers coming back. So it's very interesting to think of it as hey, this was a really interesting new acquisition channel for customers for him.
Agreed. Yep.
So the news that I wanted to bring up, and this is something we've talked before, is obviously we always talk about TikTok on some of those shows, and unfortunately we're going to have to talk about TikTok again today. But Biden's actually acquired a new company out of Indonesia. And if you remember what we were talking back in the day is that Biden's, which was obviously TikTok, was banned from selling on their platform. And live shopping was really a big element. There was even some, you know, some of those vendors that were generating, you know, 80 or 90% of all their income on TikTok Live. And so they had to scramble and try to find a bunch of alternative platforms to sell, some of them complaining that they kind of lost almost 50% of all their income because of that. So very interesting dynamic. Biden's acquired a company called Tokopedia, and that company, they purchased it for $840 million. So it's not like a small deal. They purchased it for this company. They purchased like 75% of the company, and now TikTok is able to relaunch his online shopping in Indonesia using that platform. I'm curious to see how it's going to play out. I don't know the detail personally. Is that company, because the company what was missing is the commercial license of those platforms that they were not able to get. So are they going to leverage the commercial license to be able to sell on TikTok, or do they have to migrate TikTok buyers to the Tokopedia platform to actually enable the transaction? I'm curious to see that. I think we will. This is something that I will personally be watching very closely to understand, like, what's the dynamic, how they're going to play this out. But I just found it very interesting and wanted to mention it today.
Yeah, it's the whole Southeast Asia dynamic with TikTok and live video streaming is new to the region, right? So I think everyone's trying to figure out what it means to the country and to the dynamic with the consumers. It blew up when they first did it, and it worked, and it was successful. So I think the consumers said they wanted it. It's interesting. The dynamics across the globe on social, on video commerce is interesting. I was telling you before the show about we learned about South Korea video commerce this week. My partner and I had a great conversation with a guy who was trying to bring product into South Korea, and I did a little research and found out they've got like 7 different channels, like TV live shopping channels in South Korea selling product. So it's a big dynamic in South Korea. It's a big dynamic in Southeast Asia. It's an interesting. It's very this video commerce dynamic is just ever changing.
Yeah, and I can't relate more for what you're saying. I remember like talking to a marketplace here in the US that is more on the high fashion luxury product, and they had their live shopping channel in the US market as well as in South Korea, and most of their sales were really in South Korea, and they were really investing there. And so they found it's very interesting to, they were scrambling to develop all their international logistics and everything to make it happen. But yeah, that really picked up for them doing live shopping in South Korea. So that was some interesting insight for brands that wants to go international. Maybe you count the US live shopping for you is not the right thing, but on other part of the world, it is the right thing to do. And so that may be a way for you to experiment and go in a different way to your market internationally. So
agreed. So, I wanted to call out another brand, Nicholas. We don't normally call out brands in our show, but there's another brand I was introduced this week called Plant Traps. Plant Traps is a one-woman brand that it's basically a platform for your live plants that you put on your railing on your back deck or your railing on your staircase. And she's got proprietary dynamics to the platform, to the Plant Trap product. She's blown up on social media, and she is a one-woman band with a very unique product. She's got over 469,000 followers on Instagram, 180,000 followers on Facebook, all organic. She hasn't bought a single thing. She's a one-woman show. She lives in Pittsburgh. She brings in product. Most of the product is U.S. made. So she brings in product. The dynamic of the brand is just amazing. And I talked to her because live plant and spring products are very big at QVC, and spring programming has already begun on QVC this year. Kind of gets the customer in the mood for the warmer weather, selling literally live plants or outdoor entertaining kind of products like hers. And she had entertained the QVC dynamic before, and we talked about it, and she might reconsider it. But she's got a whole plan for this brand that just blew me away. And she's selling it all organically, all promoting every day on social media, and fulfilling the product, fulfilling the orders herself. So it's just a great brand, Plant Traps. I'm going to be following her from now on.
It looks like it, right? And what I love about their site is really, it feels it's really about you, because you have like customer pictures, you have videos involved in this website. And so trick and trip. So it's really about like, very interesting website and dynamics, actually a really beautiful website. So amazing that, sometimes I won't say we forgot, right? But there's really this notion about with live streaming and with just social media, like if you really are providing value to your audience, the amount of engagement that you can generate and growing, like this woman, as you say, she's 60 plus, and she has been just posting regularly, engaging with your audience, and she creates an audience and a following. So her business, if you think about it, what is their business? She's a media person, right? So it's a media personality that happened to sell a product, and she just convey her passion through that, and people love it. And so yeah, it's interesting, and the fact that she doesn't want to scale her business is also really interesting. It does speak quite about the personality that person is. So yeah, very interesting, right?
I know she doesn't want to grow too big. She wants to just grow at her pace, and we talked about that too, her growth year over year, and what she wants and how she wants to grow her own brand. It's pretty amazing. And she's like a lot of other inventors, she's worried about knockoffs and worried about someone undercutting her. So she's trying to control all of that. It's hard. It's hard for her. She explained the whole dynamic to me. But to your point, like if you have a passion, if you're passionate about your product, it's going to work. The passion will come through. and she uses social media like a lot of other brands do, and she uses it very well. And she's very, very successful. So it's a great kind of a indicator of like, don't give up, work hard at what you're doing, follow your passions, and success will follow.
The little caveat to this is that she worked hard, but it took time to build, right? It's not something that, you know, she's in a position today where she is because it's hours and hours and hours of providing value to their users, and that invite those users. It's, you know, it's like very much like Mr. Beast, right? He started when he was 12, but when was really it took off for him, right? It took us, you know, it took us several years to actually be where it is at, and then start to grow like having the growth that he had.
Agreed.
So anyway,
well, patience. You know, that's the hard thing with this generation. Patience is a tough thing.
So, do you have any special shout out for us, Matt, today?
No special shout outs for me. Just the big game this weekend. Spending time at home with family.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for the listeners, thank you for being here. We'd love to have your comment, and you know, tell us what you would like to see on the next episode. If you want to participate on the show, just shoot us a note. We'd love to have maybe some of you coming on the show as well, and chat about your own experience with video commerce. My name is Nicholas. I'm with Extremely, and I am with my great friend Matt with E6 Marketing, and we look forward to seeing you next Friday. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.